Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Cole, and today I want us to think deeply about a question. Did the 13th Amendment really abolish slavery? If you said yes, I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. Today I stand before you to challenge a widely held belief. The notion that the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution effectively ended slavery in America. While on the surface this amendment appears to abolish slavery, I implore you to dive just a little deeper into the implications and the reality that's faced by millions of African Americans in the aftermath of this enactment. According to the 13th Amendment ratified on December 6, 1865, it states, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." At face value, this seems unequivocal in its intent to abolish slavery. However, the devil is in the details. The critical phrase in the 13th Amendment that we must scrutinize is "except as a punishment for crime." This clause has had profound and devastating consequences for generations of African Americans. It opened the floodgates to a system of convict leasing, sharecropping, and mass incarceration that perpetuated the exploitation and disenfranchisement of black people across the United States. Following the Civil War, Southern states faced economic ruin with the collapse of the plantation system and the loss of their enslaved labor force. To rebuild their economies, they turned to convict leasing, a system where predominantly black men were arrested for petty or fabricated offenses. Leased to plantation owners and corporations and forced to work under conditions, most of the time that was worse than slavery itself. This practice persisted well into the 20th century, effectively re-enslaving thousands under the guise of criminal punishment. According to Jim Crow laws, as the 19th century gave way to the 20th, Jim Crow laws institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination across the South. African Americans faced systemic barriers to education, employment, housing, voting rights. These laws reinforced a social hierarchy that relegated black Americans to second-class citizenship, denying them the full freedoms and opportunities promised by the 13th Amendment. The legacy of the 13th Amendment's loophole persists to this day through the phenomenon of mass incarceration. The war on drugs and harsh sentencing laws target African American communities, resulting in a staggering rise in black incarceration. Today, African Americans are incarcerated at more than 5 times the rate of white Americans, reflecting a modern-day form of forced labor within the prison industrial complex. According to an investigation by the Associated Press, found that companies like Kroger, McDonald's, Kellogg's, and more all profit from prison labor. This kind of work is exploitative because it does not pay enough for people to live on. It's hard to see how much this is different from slavery, honestly. Beyond the criminal justice system, systemic racism continues to manifest in economic inequality. The wealth gap between black and white Americans persists, driven by historical injustices such as redlining, discriminatory lending practices, and unequal access to education, employment, and opportunities, period. These factors perpetuate a cycle of poverty and limit upward mobility, stifling the economic progress of African American communities every day. And there's another part of this problem that's really upsetting. Human trafficking and sex slavery. According to a report by Our Rescue Today, there are 49.6 million people in modern slavery worldwide, and 12 million of them are kids. This happens when people, especially young girls and women, are tricked or forced into terrible situations where they're made to do things they don't want to do. They're tracked and scared, and it's really hard for them to escape. This is a form of modern-day slavery that happens right here, right now in our communities and our country every day. In conclusion, while the 13th Amendment represented a crucial step towards the abolition of slavery and legacy is marred by loopholes that perpetuated systemic oppression and racial injustice, we cannot overlook the historical and ongoing implications of this amendment on African American communities. Let us pledge to uphold the principles of equality, justice, and human dignity for all. Let us strive towards a future where the promise of freedom and opportunity is realized for every citizen, regardless of race or background. Together, we can build a more just and equitable society where the mistakes of history are acknowledged, rectified, and never repeated. Thank you.